Hi everyone, my name is Alex Creech. I'm with the Creech Crew, closing deals in heels and cleats, and I'm here with Kurt Stein, and he is with HouseScan that he founded in 2017. And what they're kind of known for and setting themselves apart is they're a little bit more technologically advanced than most other home inspectors that we've seen on the market. And Kurt, can you actually elaborate on that?
Yeah, so that to me is one advantage with us, but kind of goes back to like our early days when we started in 2017. Kind of just the home inspections that I had prior to getting into the career. I noticed that there was some opportunities, not only with the technology that's being used, but all kinds of different facets of the home inspection. So ease of scheduling, transparent pricing, what you're actually getting with your home inspection.
Yeah.
The technology used, the software used, what the report looks like, whether or not somebody uses an infrared camera. So those are all kind of like different things that we've used as features as part of our home inspection to kind of separate ourselves from the pack.
I'll say one of my favorite things about using you guys is so my wife and I, whenever we have an inspection from you guys, whether it's the morning inspection or the afternoon, we'll get that report the next morning, and we can always tell our customers that we'll have it by tomorrow morning. We look over it with our customers at that point, and we make some decisions on what kind of concessions need to be made or what do we need to ask for.
For sure.
And I know we always appreciate that from you. Okay, so Kurt, question for you. What is your biggest piece of advice to home buyers about a home inspection?
Yeah, so great question. For one, I would say read the entire report. So we get calls all the time from folks asking, why something, wasn't caught during the home inspection. And then unfortunately we have to go point it out. Hey, it's on page, 15 or on page 30 or whatever. So it's clear sometimes that folks don't, read through the entire report because there's oftentimes a lot to digest there. So that would be one. The second item that I would recommend would just be to understand what a home inspection is and what it's not and some of the limitations there. So, just like all these other risk reducing strategies for buying a house, like, insurance is a great idea to have on your house, right? Getting a home warranty is a great idea to reduce risk. Using a reliable, real estate agent and a reliable title company and all these different people during the real estate transaction, all good ideas. Home inspection is the same thing, supposed to reduce risk, but it doesn't reduce risk 100%. So I'll just understand that it's definitely a good idea, but it is not going to reduce risk, 100%.
And what is the most common items that you see in inspection reports?
Oof, that is a tough one.
Across the board?
Yeah, I mean, there's just everything. It depends on so many different factors. I would say normally just like normal home maintenance type things, things that we all live with, every day. I mean, my house has plenty of, home maintenance items that would come up in an inspection report. I would say those are most common. And for us, we don't make a big deal about those sorts of things. What we try to have a buyer focus their eyes on and their attention on is going to be like your big ticket items. So, whether or not you need a new roof, new air conditioning system, whether or not you have major foundation issues, those sorts of things that are going to cost more money, which are not in every house, right?
Yeah.
But every house has issues. Usually there's minor home maintenance sort of things, or things that we just want to, educate and make a buyer aware of, but aren't necessarily the end of the world.
And I know HouseScan, you were speaking about minor issues and big ticket items. I know you guys have a color coding system. What is that again?
Yeah, so it's blue, orange, and red. And so, like I said, a lot of inspection reports that folks get, it's gonna be a laundry list of, let's just say, 80 items. And, for most people purchasing a property, they don't know what's important versus what's not important.
Yeah.
And of course, it's subjective, right? We're using subjectivity in our experience to try to color code these things and focus the buyer's eye towards things that are gonna be either a bigger safety risk or just a bigger financial risk for them. So red items, those are going to be items that are going to keep you from getting insurance. They're going to be a major safety issue or a major expense. Okay. Yeah. Orange, kind of middle of the road, might need to have a contractor out, make certain repairs, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, those sorts of things. And then minor is kind of what I was talking about. That's all of your, just more informational type things. home maintenance, smaller minor repairs.
Missing weather stripping,
burnout light bulb, easy things
all
like
that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I know we're always appreciative of that in the report.
Yep.
Easy to find. Look at the big red ones first, then you go back to the whole report.
For sure.
And so it leads me to my next question. What are the biggest red flags that come up in a report?
Yeah, so they can be anything, and it really depends on that buyer and what their tolerance is for the house.
Okay.
Now, I would say that typically it's the 4 sections of your 4-point report.
Mm-hmm.
So plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and the roof. And then also you have the foundation in there that I would throw in. So those 5 sections, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roof, foundation, I would probably focus on those areas. Those are typically your largest expenses. If you need to, fully replace a system or part of that system. But then really, I mean, you could look at anything in a house and it can be costly to repair or replace. So, if you need new windows throughout your entire house, that can be a significant expense. New siding, things like that. So.
Yeah. Kurt, what are some minor issues that sound bad in a report but really don't need to be addressed?
Okay, so that's a good question. So I would say that, like I was mentioning earlier, so every homeowner is different, right? Everybody has different tolerances, different family situations, different financial situations. So I would say that it really depends on that buyer and what their needs are. Now, from my perspective, I would argue that everything in the home inspection report should be addressed and corrected. But again, that's just not reasonable or economical in most situations. I mean, nobody's going to go through and fix all 80 some items that could be in an inspection report. Again, I would say to kind of focus on big ticket items, at least in our reports, the items that are red, maybe orange, focusing on those first.
Yeah.
And then, that most of the items that are in blue in our report, that's like a good honey-do list for once you move into the property, and you can knock those out, over the years that you live there. But usually not the best thing to go and try to get those repaired during a real estate transaction or to negotiate on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what does HouseScan do really well?
Yeah, so that's a great question. For us, we've kind of always said that there's nothing that we do revolutionarily different from any other home inspection company. We're generally doing the same thing, but we kind of think that we do about 15 to 20 things just slightly better than everybody else. So when you kind of add up everything, then it's like a pretty significant difference in experience. So a bunch of things there. Online pricing, it's all transparent. It's on the website. We provide the wind mitigation and the 4-point report complimentary with every home inspection. We do an infrared scan at the end of every home inspection to make sure there's no hidden issues like moisture intrusion, missing insulation, roof leaks, plumbing leaks, things like that. Communication is really big with us. So just how we, at the end of the inspection, how we're going to communicate those findings and do like a walkthrough with the client and the realtor. So that's really important. Don't want to be alarming, but we don't want to sugarcoat anything. Just give people information where they can make a good decision. And a bunch of other things.
Yeah,
so.
And that's the last one there you said about talking to the homeowner. That's a great one. I know your guys do a great job with first-time home buyers. We've had a couple of those customers even in the past 6 months. And I know Scott was on 2 of those, and he's always been really great just talking to the first-time home buyer, because there's a lot of trepidation and questions and just unknowns that a first-time home buyer might have that your guys inform, and just then we can make the best decision from there.
Yeah, the home inspection a lot of times can be a daunting, scary process for a lot of buyers, and it just doesn't have to be, right? So that's what we really try to do, is just give the information, but again, not be alarming, not scare anybody away, but also not sugarcoat this stuff. Just give them information and really just educate them so that they can make a good decision.
Now let me ask you this. If home buyers are trying to save money, should they skip on an inspection?
That's a great question. We get that question about a couple times a week. So I would say that it's up to the buyer, right?
Okay.
It's up to them and their situation. If, I always tell everybody, home inspections, they are not required, right? You do not have to get a home inspection to purchase a house. Should you get one? Probably. So I would say about 90% of home buyers are going to get a home inspection in some capacity from a licensed home inspector. There's a lot of value there. You can understand really what's going on in the house. You might be able to do that on your own, but home inspectors, they're in houses all day, every day. You know,
you got the right tools to, like you said, infrared.
Got the right tools, the right software. I mean, there's a ton of value that's packed into, you know, the $500 that somebody's going to spend on a home inspection. I would normally say it's usually about the best money that somebody can spend in the entire real estate transaction process. But I'm biased. So.
But new construction, you definitely don't need an inspection for new construction, right?
So we hear that a lot as well. So most people think that brand new house is like, you know, like a car off of a showroom floor. And unfortunately, it's just not that manufacturing process, right? We're dealing with organic materials, bunch of contractors, you know, there's language barriers, there's overextended superintendents. There is a lot that can be missed or kind of fall through the cracks during that new construction process. And we inspect brand new houses all day, every day. The amount of crazy findings that we've had inside these brand new houses is really astonishing. And I still get surprised every single day when I, you know, get text messages or photos from my guys in the field that are inspecting these houses. But you have a couple different options with these new houses. So you could, like I said, you don't have to get a full home inspection. You can forego it. Probably not the best idea, but you know, it is an option. You can get an inspection right before closing. So that's a good idea because once you kind of give the builder your money, the likelihood of them coming back and making repairs once you're moved in and everything becomes more difficult.
Right.
And then your last option would be at the 11-month mark, right before your 1-year warranty expires. You could always get an inspection done at that time and then ask for, you know, certain repairs prior to that 1-year warranty.
That's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that one.
Yeah. So that one's a good like bang for your buck because then you've lived in the house for a little bit. You kind of know some of the, you know, peculiarities and intricacies and some things that you might have questions about. Then you can have a licensed inspector come in, take a look at everything, and look at the few things that you found or you have concerns about.
Perfect. Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah.
So along those lines of the new construction, what's some of the red flags or things you've seen on a brand new construction?
Yeah, so I would say just anything and everything.
You've seen it all.
It's quite surprising. Again, most people think that a brand new house is like perfect, and it's just far from the truth. We've seen a ton of roof leaks over the years. We've seen air conditioning systems that were installed improperly, not working properly. We've seen plumbing backups. We've seen leaks, a ton of leaks inside walls and, you know, in ceiling areas. Just you name it. I mean, just poor installations, poor craftsmanship, all kinds of different things. So pretty much across the board.
What are some common misconceptions about home inspectors or the home inspection industry?
Yeah, another good question. So I would say that one is that, you know, home inspectors are Superman and catch every single issue and predict future issues, things like that. So obviously that's not the case. You know, again, like I said earlier, home inspections are designed to reduce risk, but they're not designed to reduce risk 100%, right? Or future risk, right?
Yeah.
You know, things can happen in the future. You know, pipes can leak, things can happen. Home inspector, you know, we're basically there for 3-4 hours usually. We're gonna, you know, try to catch every single thing that we can, but again, it's not designed to be fully comprehensive. So that would be one. The other one that I hear a lot is, you know, when we're done with our home inspection, I've heard from so many people like, oh, this is an easy job. Like, you know, can I do this? Are you guys hiring? And like, yes, we're normally hiring, but whether it's an easy job or not, I would say most home inspectors, especially our team, we make it look very easy, but it is one hard job. I mean, it is, you know, you're gonna be tested physically, which it probably doesn't look like it, but climbing roofs, you know, getting under houses, dealing with rain, you know, heat, sun. I mean, it's pretty tough on your body. And then mentally, to be able to you have to be on for 3-4 hours straight without missing a beat. You know, a lot of times dealing with tough customers, difficult questions, delivering bad news. You have to be able to communicate well. I mean, there's a lot that's kind of packed into that 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I didn't even mention it, but you have to be super knowledgeable on houses and systems, things like that. So very difficult job. I would say in a lot of cases, like a thankless job. But again, yeah, we're trying to make it look as easy as possible, but it's really hard. And I just have a ton of respect for my team and really any home inspector out there.
Well, Kurt, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it. And this is Kurt Stein with HouseScan Inspections. We'll see you next time.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
All right.